Everybody, my name is Caleb. I am Chief Partnership Officer at James Marketing Company, and here is the Pulse Podcast. Today, we have Michaela from Fox Cities Chamber, and this is John, right?
Yep.
John from Johnson Bank. So welcome today on the Pulse Podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right. So I guess, I know we're already kind of talking, but I think it would be a good start to talk about networking in general, about the importance of it. And, maybe some of the struggles that people have, especially when beginning that networking journey.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started at my first chamber event was actually with the Fox Cities Chamber. And, I went into it with a notebook. I kept track of every single conversation I had. I thought it was really strict, routine, like every person was there for a purpose and that I'd be providing some sort of value right away. It was very much more so like this is business, this isn't casual. And that's where my mindset immediately went to,
Mm-hmm.
And so as I continued going to chamber events, it's not that it went away, but it's that this is a place to build trust, right? This is a place where we can trust each other and that we can develop a relationship, and then we can use that for business as well. If I'm more willing to trust you and you're more willing to trust me, that's where business flourishes. And so a lot of people starting out kind of feel that same way. And so I'm curious, what's your experience right now, especially either in your first time, networking, or, I know, Michaela, what is something you've seen when in the chamber events, especially with new people?
Yeah. So one of the unique things that I get to do that I really enjoy getting to do is having those initial conversations with people, right? And when you can build that rapport and build those relationships ahead of time, they feel comfortable to show up, right? Half the battle is just getting them there, getting through the doors, because that is where a lot of people are very fear-based is, what am I walking into? What is going to happen? I don't know what to expect, so I'm just not going to go. So it's really building that like, hey, I'm going to be here. And so on the chamber side of things, I get to partner new businesses up with ambassadors like John. And they are another reach out, they're another connection point, they're another support. So then it's another familiar face when you go to these networking events. On the Pulse side of things, we have an engagement team that it kind of does the same thing. So they kind of reach out, do those, emails, say like, hey, this is who I am. We'd love to invite you. We'd love to see you there. But when people first get there, I think there's just this overwhelming sensation of like, where do I go first? What do I do? How do I do this? Because, people don't want small numbers at events. The bigger numbers are often more intimidating, but there's more value because there's more people in the room. There's more conversations that lead to more opportunities, that lead to more, friendships, working relationships, all of those things. It's just that when that first initial point feels very overwhelming. And so with new businesses, I've heard things kind of like you, like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Is it more formal? Do I have to take notes? Like what, who am I connecting with? But then there's also the people that are like, can you introduce me to people? Because I don't know who to talk to. And I'm like, yeah, of course.
Hold my hand.
Yeah. But I remember when I first started at the chamber, my first business after hours, I was standing at the registration table and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know who any of these people are. I was like, how am I supposed to learn who these people are and what they do? And even on my side, it was intimidating. So I always kind of put myself in that headspace when thinking about who's coming, because then it allows me a little bit more of an opportunity to be like, not telling them how it has to be, but like allowing myself to kind of almost give them opportunities, like to almost be one step ahead to be able to provide those opportunities before they have to ask for it. Because I think sometimes if you have to ask for it, that's also awkward. No one wants to be like, hey, Michaela, go and
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, great, you're new. Like, thank you so much for coming. This is great. Let me get you connected with this person.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh my gosh, this person has a really similar background as you. Like, let me go introduce you to. Or we'll talk in a conversation. They're like something, blah, blah, blah. I need marketing. I'm like, oh, cool. I got the guy,
Yep.
So then it's just easier for me to be able to kind of like connect, or I already know in my head before they come to an event, like, ooh, these are the 3 people that I'm going to get them connected with.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it can be definitely a very intimidating thing for people. And I don't know.
And it seems like, I know you mentioned the ambassadors. The ambassadors are a big part of that,
Yeah.
Every single ambassador I've met with, is always willing to try and be that extra, extra voice for those who maybe are a little bit more introverted, you
Yeah.
know? And so it's, I think, a great thing to have be an ambassador for a chamber if you want to really promote it and also connect with other
Yeah.
young professionals, especially. So I have a question for you,
Oh,
John.
yeah.
How did you develop as an ambassador for the chamber? What motivated you? Was it Michaela who asked you? Did you just kind of tell Michaela, or?
That's actually a good question. Thinking back, it just kind of it all kind of happened fairly quickly.
Yeah.
You start getting involved with the chamber, but like you talked about the fear, right? So for me, I like to naturally network with people. I like to talk, and I see that when we have those new attendees arriving, like as we kind of mentioned to you earlier, there's that fear of engaging, right? There's that fear of like I don't know how to initially start a conversation. So I think for me, it was just knowing that I could kind of help like get them, I guess, to open up, break some walls down so they can actually utilize, the resources there. So it's what I guess makes me excited about, the job there with the chamber, about being an ambassador.
Yeah, it is exciting.
It is, yeah. Like we talk though, right? Like you walk into a room, you're nervous. It's better to have more people because there's more network opportunity. But then at the same time, you're like, okay, how do I even break in here without feeling like I'm barging into a conversation, or like how can I begin to network?
Right, absolutely. And there's a big difference, I think, in the different types of chamber events as well. Like there's the morning mingle, which maybe is a good spot for a lot of newcomers, because everybody can start to just introduce themselves, and then afterwards, then they can mingle again.
Yep.
Well, maybe the after hours events are a little bit more tricky just because there's so many moving, it's loud, maybe there's a lot of moving, there's food, there's drinks, it's a lot more of like wow, this is a very, very, almost feels like a high tier business class type of meeting. And there's a lot of pressure in that, especially. So in that, where do you find, especially the new attendees, do they usually start online, or does it start with a conversation, in person?
Yeah. So, a couple of different things happen. So like when I meet with a new member, a new Pulse person who wants to join and get involved, typically Pulse is a little bit more people just kind of join. And they just are like, oh, this is exciting. Oh, my employer told me about this. Oh, my friend invited me to this. So then they are a little bit more filling out the application online, comes to me, I add them into our system, and then I get them connected with someone on the engagement team. I also then send out a welcome email to them and kind of just let them know who I am, let them know what Pulse is. Hey, here's your login. Hey, here's some upcoming events that we'd love to have you at. But I also don't stop at just inviting them to just Pulse events, because I think there's such a beautiful blend of having chamber events and Pulse events, like that connection between the two. Obviously a little more scarier and like a little more intimidating, but there is value in that. So I like to provide both. But for chamber members, it is a little bit of both. Like people will sign up online, but typically it's me having conversations with businesses. Last weekend, I was at a birthday party for my daughter, was at a random place, and I was like, oh, I wonder if these guys are chamber members. Like, so I looked up, they weren't, and I just started having a conversation with the owner, and I was like, so tell me a little bit about you guys. How did you guys start this? Because this is an amazing place. And tell me a little bit about why you're passionate about this. Like, why did you feel like the Flex Cities needed this? And then from there, I was like, what kind of areas do you feel like you guys are struggling in the most? And so we kind of just built upon that and kind of kept having that more natural conversation that allowed them to talk about their space, their passion, their thing, without it feeling like, oh, the chamber's coming in and trying to like force me into a conversation, right? But then in that same breath, I was able to be like, you know what? I think this would be a really good fit for you guys because you are a small business. There's a lot of other small businesses that could really benefit from your service. You could really benefit from theirs. But then I did invite them to that morning mingle because I think it is a really unique space for them to be in when they get that opportunity to share who they are, because then it allows for a little bit more intentional conversation where if you say, oh, hey, I'm Caleb from James Marketing. Oh, if I know I need a marketing person, boom, I'm going right to Caleb. I don't have to sit and guess who does what, right? Not that that is a bad thing. I think that's a great thing, but I think it also allows a little bit more intentionality behind it versus at the business after hours. Like you said, it's a little bit more open-ended. I know our ambassador team has been kind of trying to do some fun things to kind of allow there to be a little bit more intentional networking.
I think you're being modest too, though, because even with like the after hours events or the morning mingle, like when we get new members joining, like, Michaela's good about letting us know like maybe who they were joining, like the purpose behind why they joined,
Yeah.
right? Like trying to figure out if they were looking to network with a certain kind of group,
Yeah.
and you make sure they feel welcome. Like you let us know kind of like like a Cliff Note version, right,
Yeah.
of what they are looking for, and we just kind of step in and make sure they feel
Yeah.
like they can actually talk with everyone in the room.
And I think too, like, you know, being that I have been with this group of ambassadors since I started, every ambassador holds a unique thing that I'm like, oh, this person, I love partnering them up with this kind of person or this kind of business or in this type of situation. So everyone has their own unique thing that I love about the ambassadors. I could go on and on about how much I love the ambassadors. They're a really great group of people. But they have so many talents that they bring to the table and so many unique skills that are so valuable in so many different ways that, like, you know, as I have these new people on that are coming in and I'm having those initial conversations with them, immediately when we are talking and I'm trying to go through that discovery and trying to figure out who they are and what they need and how I can support their business, I'm already thinking about who I would pair them up with as an ambassador at whatever event they show up at, because I think that there's something really unique about, like, obviously I want them to be connected with everyone, but I think if you can be partnered up with someone that you feel comfortable with right off the bat, or you guys have similarities right off the bat, it's a little bit easier to then open up to other people. And so, like, John,
it's like tailoring a person to co-orientate for their needs, you know, like if someone's a little more introverted, you know, that you can say, hey, I think this ambassador would be great for you to talk to.
Correct.
Yes, 100%.
And I mean, and John and their whole team of ambassadors are already like pre-assigned new members as they come in. So they're already reaching out to them. So who I may determine based on having a conversation with them, like if I'm talking with someone and we're having a really great conversation, I'll be like, oh, they're a fantastic fit to connect with John. He may not be the ambassador that they're assigned with, but now they have two connections. So then that's also really great. And then, you know, I'll see them mingling at business after hours and I'll be like, John, hey, come here. I really want you to meet so-and-so. And then, like, I bring them over and then I kind of just let them do their thing because I don't ever want it to feel like, you know, I'm like invading their conversations. I want it to be organic. I don't want it to feel
the strings or
yes,
anything.
and like I don't ever want to feel like that. So I kind of just let them do their thing, and then I'll see them kind of milling around, and I'll be like, "Oh, come over here! Like I want you to meet this person." And so it's just a really fun way. Like now, especially that I know a lot of the members of the chamber in general. Like even if they're not an ambassador, sometimes I'll just go and connect them. So,
that's awesome. That's wonderful. So I love the idea of connecting somebody with an ambassador that, you know, they'll probably be more comfortable with.
Yeah.
But I realized we've been kind of combining Pulse and the Chamber.
Yeah.
This is the Pulse podcast. The Pulse podcast is meant to connect with young professionals. And I think that's also the same idea of why Pulse was developed, was because young people generally are able to relate better to other young people as well.
Yeah.
So was that the initial idea for the Pulse?
Yeah. So Pulse is kind of built off the initiative that the Fox Cities is in it. Like, well, I think everywhere is in a unique position, right? Where we're coming up with a lot of different businesses that the, you know, C-suite people or the leaders of these organizations are thinking about retirement, or they're looking at moving to different companies. And eventually the young professionals of wherever you live is going to be the people that take over the future of these businesses, right? And in order to have that retention and the expansion of an area, you need to have people who are built with the right skills, the right tools, the right experiences to be able to carry on what has already been or evolve and change. But ultimately, we want to grow the Fox Cities, right? We want to keep people here. We want to bring people here. We want to give them those resources. We want a booming, you know, community that we can grow and thrive in, right? So Pulse is really the kind of the group of people, of young professionals that are in our area that, yeah, they all may have their friend group and they may have their social group, and that's awesome. They also have their work group. But what I have learned is that, you know, if you're at US Venture, right, and you have a fantastic group of young professionals there, you only know the way that US Venture is working and operating. But if you're in the room with people from Jewelers Mutual, or you're in the room with young entrepreneurs who start their own business making, you know, we talked to a girl this morning who she makes pottery, but she sells handmade pottery cups to local coffee shops. And so like but she also does other adventures as well. So like you have all these different people who do things, and now you have, you know, let's say James Marketing is like, hey, we really want to advertise our business more. We want to buy different, you know, things to kind of get us out there. And you connect with, you know, the person we connected with this morning. You're like, oh my gosh, handmade clay mugs, like for coffee that our logo can be stamped on. That's incredible. That's awesome. You guys want to buy it. Now you recommend it to your clients. Now their business is continuing to grow, right? The people from US Venture are connecting with other people in similar roles as them. And they're like, wow, your company does it like that. Your culture invests in this. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like, I want to do that, right? Like, I want that experience. And so then you kind of just start branching out. You start making those different connections. You start, you know, getting clientele, making friends, making other just professional connections. But then it's also bridging the employers to the young professionals and getting them to invest in the future of these young professionals by giving them those tools and skills to like get to where they need to be to run and operate these businesses. So I think Pulse does, the goal of Pulse is to really make that all happen here in the Fox Cities.
And I really think, just from my experience with Pulse, it has been insanely effective. And all those things you just mentioned, the turnout this morning was incredible.
Yeah. It was great. Yeah,
it was incredible.
Not enough parking spots.
I know. We don't even have parking spots for everybody. But there were so many new people as well attending. There were so many great conversations, so much networking connection. Yeah. And it was such a joyful experience as well, too.
It was.
And I'm getting the notes that we're running out of time. But I just wanted to say that the Pulse is such a high-growing group of people that we want to continue to grow, and we want to utilize this tool for everybody in the Fox Cities and the greater area as well too. Yeah. And so I think our goals moving forward is to continue to push this, you know, especially for those other businesses, and, you know, be that helping hand that John is, or that you are, you know, when people do attend these events. So any final thoughts you guys may have on Pulse or anything else that people watching this might want to know about?
I just want to comment to what you said there, you know, like the connecting like the small businesses with different opportunities out there. Even this morning with one of the individuals you introduced me to, verbatim, she said, yeah, I'm excited to start having my person for this, my person for that, and like expanding that network. So, I mean, I think just continuing to do this is just great for the area.
100%. I have two quick things to say, but the first thing is that I just really appreciate every young professional that invests their time, their energy, their resources, their connections into coming to Pulse, because really Pulse wouldn't be what it is without the young professionals that come, right? We have a lot of different events that we do, anywhere from volunteering, coffee and conversation, cocktails and conversation, to more social events, as well as those professional development things.
Wreath making.
Yeah, wreath making. That's a really good wreath maker.
Beautiful.
But all of those things couldn't be possible without the young professionals that also are investing in themselves and in their, you know, peers. So just really appreciate every single person that has ever come to an event and is part of Pulse. The last thing I'll do is I'll give a little pitch for Pulse. We do have our different committees as part of Pulse. One of them that we are currently looking for committee members for is our engagement committee, which is exactly what we're talking about today. Yeah. More of that networking piece. It's the ambassadors of the Pulse group. So it's those people that want to reach out to those new members, the people that want to connect and really help make a difference by getting, you know, the new Pulse members connected with more seasoned Pulse members, helping them get those connections, helping them feel part of the group and fulfilled, and resources at their fingertips, right? But it's also kind of planning and doing our volunteerism. So if that is something that's important to, you know, an individual, this would be a perfect group for that. And they are also the group that builds out resources for our Pulse team. So we have kind of some cool resource stuff coming, and it's in the works, but our engagement team is working very, very heavily on all of that and could really use some more support. So thank you for letting us talk about networking today.
Thank you guys so much for attending today and letting us just record this. It was wonderful getting to know your perspectives on things and seeing how we can help and grow this for other young professionals in the Fox Cities. So if anybody else watching this is really interested in learning more about Pulse, the Fox Cities Chamber, or other young professionals in the area, visit the Fox Cities Chamber website, and you can find more information there on how to develop as a young professional and how to network. It was so wonderful talking with you both today, and we hope to have another podcast soon.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thanks.